right, guys, so that is Charlie Christian's solo on Rose Room. If you haven't checked that out, you should. If you haven't checked out any Charlie Christian, you should. He is widely recognized as the father of electric guitar. He influenced many different styles from blues to jazz. I think even Jimi Hendrix cites him as an influence. So what I want to do in this lesson is break down two key phrases that he uses in the solo that I just played, and show you some different ways he varies it, sort of like I did in the last lesson, which you can check above if you haven't. And what's interesting here is they're very iconic phrases. I don't want to say basic phrases, but they're used a lot to create certain shapes in jazz and also in blues, since he's coming in that earlier era. This solo I think is around 1939, if I'm not mistaken. So there's two main phrases we will look at. The first one being this shape around a major triad. So we're in A flat for this song. And so it's based around this A flat triad. You've heard it in a lot of blues stuff too, like Johnny B. Good. So it's a really common phrase, and what's cool here is we see a few different variations on how Charlie Christian uses it. And then the other phrase I want to look at, it's not so much a phrase, but it's a device or vocab word we use in jazz that is a descending chromatic, double descending chromatic notes, where, and he does this in a few spots, which we'll go over. All of these, and we'll look at the different ways he's using that over different chords, sometimes dominant, sometimes minor, sometimes major, or in this case, it's like a 6 chord. We'll look at all those, and then I have a couple other bonus phrases from here that I enjoy for other reasons. But the two main things we're going to look at is first, this first phrase based around this major triad, this iconic major triad idea. And then the second one is this double descending chromatic notes. So let's get into it. So the standard way of playing this major triad idea up front, there's a few. Sometimes you'll see it like this, where it has that F note in it. What I'm writing down for this, from what he plays in the solo, is, so you have variations on that, sometimes where the last note is doubled with that 2 hits, or sometimes it's not. Anything around that, it's as long as you're seeing this A flat major shape, and then we'll look at different variations. So another one he does is right from that beginning of the solo, where he's going, or down here. It's again based around. Hopefully you can hear how that variation is still based around that same triad. This time we just start off by enclosing that third, and then the E flat, F, A flat. That's a really great one to know. And I would do it in different positions. So here, and then both of those spots, it's like this A flat triad shape, and then this one down here. So for this second variation, this is the end phrase of the solo, and it starts off, it's a 2-5 going to that A flat 6. So B flat minor, E flat 7 to the A flat 6, and we have a rest on 1. So it was very idiomatic of this time period to have a lot of these duplicated notes ending your phrase, all of that kind of thing. You'll hear it in another song that Charlie Christian's known for called Airmail Special. He does that a lot too. I'll play it one more time. So again, that whole phrase is all based around that A flat right there. So for this variation number 3, we're going from an A flat 6 to an F7. So we'll see how he gets into that third of F7, how he targets that third. And we're starting off on this A flat, going down chromatically from G flat, going up chromatically to the C. We have this little triplet going into that A. Up, down, up. That phrase for the F7, you can think about it like a descending A half diminished triad, so G, E flat, C, A, G, E flat, C, A. I'll play the whole phrase again. So it's really going from like this A flat 6 section, this shape, to that, down to that F7. Okay, so that's that first phrase and a few variations I want to look at. And now I want to really dig into this, what he's doing chromatically with these double descending chromatic notes. And actually this same variation is a good place to look at that because he uses this, the F, E natural to the E flat. So we take out those first couple notes, we have a rest. And that's the idea, the jazz vocab word I want to recognize here and see how it can be used in different ways. So the idea with this double descending chromaticism is we have a target note at the end. So the note at the end is the one we're really thinking of, and we just start 2 frets higher. So in this case, if we're on A flat 6, we're targeting the 5th because E flat's the 5th of A flat. So we have that. And there's a few different ways we can use that. We can use that just to target a specific note on a chord, or also as a sort of glue between other lines that we're playing, and use that double descending chromaticism to get us into the next line we want to play. So let's look at another variation here. So the first one that comes up in this solo is on the E flat minor 7, and it's on this line where he's playing 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, we have that here with that double note ending. And this, I would think about it as we're targeting the 11th of E flat minor, which is A flat. So we have, again, 3, 4. That's the first example we have of this. We have a few others. Another really interesting spot he uses this is when it goes from D flat 6 to D flat minor 6. And this starts off, we have 2 beats of rest, 1, 2. So again, targeting the 5th of the chord, so D flat. So we're targeting the A flat. And then we do it again here, targeting the 11th of D flat minor, which is G flat. So I'll play the whole phrase for you. 1, 2. That's where it goes there. One more time. So you can see it's used to target the 5th on major chords and the 11th on minor chords. For this quick variation, it's when he's playing that fast triplet line. This is on the B flat 7 portion where he goes and ending that phrase, we have that C, B natural, B flat. So this is over B flat 7. So this little word works also when we're targeting the root of a dominant chord. So far we've seen you can target the 5th of a major chord, the 11th of a minor chord, or the root of a dominant chord. So again, that line is nice little one. And again, up front, just like before when we were using F7 and we had A half diminished as our arpeggio, here with B flat 7, he's using a D half diminished. And then the other phrase, this little double descending chromatic note. Really cool. Okay, so let's look at one more use of this double descending chromatic note, and that is to connect your ideas, your 8th note line ideas. So this is going from B flat 7 to E flat 7 to A flat, really A flat 6. So we're starting off with B flat 7. We have, right here we use it as a glue. One more time. So we have this B flat 7 idea, and then even though this E flat, D, and D flat doesn't really land where we would expect for the strong notes of the chord with the chord tones, it doesn't really matter because it connects us to our next idea over E flat 7, which is starting here. So I think about it like 2 phrases. We have phrase 1 for B flat 7 is, and then we have phrase 2 for E flat 7 is, and then the glue in between is this E flat, D, D flat. And all together we have So that's one way we can use that phrase as a little connective tissue. I'll show you one more example. So this time we're using it from A flat 7 to a D flat 6, and it's starting on this part. We have and again, we're using that E flat, D, D flat, and it's interesting here because he's actually hitting D on a strong beat for the D flat 6. Doesn't really matter because he eventually gets to an F, which sounds nice, our third of D flat, and then continues on with the phrase with kind of like this B flat minor 9 type of sound. One more time. That's one other way that he's using that as some glue between lines. All right, real quick, the last part I want to look at is just a couple bonus licks. If you've been watching my Secret Jazz Chord videos, I like to see whenever I can grab a cool line and apply it to one of the Secret Jazz chords. So there's two that come to mind for this. The first one is right at the beginning of the solo. It would be over this E flat 7, and we're looking at this Secret Jazz Chord shape with C on the top. So basically like E flat 13, specifically this shape though. And it's the phrase where he's going. I think that's just a really cool one. For any of these times we use that shape for the Secret Jazz Chord. And then the last one is this really cool triplet line when he's on F13, basically around here, going to the B flat 7. So that's the. So I'm thinking about it as that F13. So let's say I wanted to move this to E flat 13. I haven't tried this yet, so let's see how it goes. Yeah, so E flat 13 to A flat 7 would work there. Right? It's a really cool spot. Totally not something I would normally play, and those always make for the best learning experiences. So hope you guys got something out of this lesson from Charlie Christian's Rose Room, and definitely like I said, check out the solo, learn the solo in its entirety, and then these phrases, these little bits I'm showing you will make a lot more sense. All right, as always, thanks for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed this and enjoy my other videos, make sure you subscribe, and please hit that like button and comment below if you have any feedback or anything you'd like me to cover in an upcoming video. Thank you.